So today is the research symposium for students to show off their the different researches they've been doing since the year started, and I'm just excited to show off what I've learned.
This day is a chance for students to represent their posters and represent their work, and just have people ask questions and get to know what they worked on.
Coe College does a really good job of having a lot of student and faculty engagement and work done between professors and students directly. And today was about showcasing that work done and presenting it to the campus as a whole.
I think that this event is very important to our campus because it gives a chance to the Coe community to just appreciate the work that has been done and appreciate the students and their hard work and the professors as well.
In terms of life after Coe, having the opportunity to do undergraduate research, it gives me a chance to have things to put on my resume. When it comes time to apply to graduate school, I have that experience that I can say, hey, I worked with faculty member on research. I know how to do this sort of thing.
So I think my favorite part about the entire process is just how much I've grown to value the relationships I have with my professors who are supervising my research. I've gotten to know them both in and out of the classroom, and they've gotten to know me. So when I was applying to graduate school this fall, they were able to write me letters of recommendation, and I just really will value those relationships that I've built even after I graduate in May.